Okay, so this tutorial is going to take you through step by step the process of creating the web product as set out by the specification for your certificate in digital applications. So this particular paper here is the one that you did for your mock. So if we just read through the instructions initially, obviously this is the client brief, and this is the most important element as far as really understanding what your website should look like, who it's being aimed at, and all of the design decisions that you make regarding colour scheme, layout, content should really be based upon this client brief. So do take the time to read through it carefully. So Escapade is a new adventure park for extreme sports, opening in August of 2015. Escapade needs a website to attract visitors to the adventure park. The website must appeal to families and youth groups who plan to visit the adventure park. The basis for the content and information for the website can be found in the Assets folder. So I have my Assets folder just over here on the desktop. Obviously when you do the examination, we will place the Assets folder on the desktop for you. Overall site requirements, we're going to have 5 pages, 3 main and 2 sub. So that means that on the template, these 3 buttons, the home page button, the About Us button, and the Activities page button, should be available on all 3 main pages. And then from the Activities page, you should also be able to link to the Treetops page and the Junior Escapade page. It's also important to remember that when you create these sublinks, that you're able to link back to the original Activities page as well. So you've got a full cycle navigation system. Your content must be visible without scrolling at a resolution of 1024 by 768. This is referring to horizontal scrolling. The exam board does not mind vertical scrolling, so I can scroll up and down a page, but I should not have to scroll from side to side to see everything. There are certain exam papers where it will state without scrolling for both horizontal and vertical, and in that case you don't want to have this kind of scrolling either. So you need to include all of your content, your facts, your images taken from the Assets folder, the accessibility features for visually impaired users. That is the alt text that must be added to every picture, and a consistent design across the website. So let's get started first of all in organising our site. So I'm going to open Dreamweaver. Just wait a moment whilst it loads. Here we go. Now as soon as Dreamweaver opens, my first and most important step that you must remember is to define the site. If you do not define the site, none of your links will stick when you log out and you will lose all of your work. So I'm going to start with site and a new site, and I'm going to create this new site called mock exam. Please note I have not used a space in here, an underscore only, and I'm now going to link this mock exam to my Assets folder. Now it's going to give me a warning when I do this because I've actually already done this once before, so I already have a site linked to this Assets folder, and it doesn't like it when you link more than one site to the same folder. But for the purposes of this, I'm just going to ignore that warning. You won't have the same problem when you do it in your real test. So, yep, etc, etc. Same as another exam. Proceed anyway. Yes, okay. So here I have my defined site, and I can see I've got any pages that I want to be able to work on. I've got my images folder here and everything else. So this is now set up, ready to go. So I'm going to refer back to my instruction booklet. My first instruction is to create a page template with a banner including a suitable image and the company logo. The banner should extend to the full width of the page. The logo PNG image can be found in the images folder. A navigation bar should also link to the 3 main pages and should contain a home page button, an About Us button and an Activity page button. Okay, so let's have a look. First thing I'm going to do is open a new HTML file, create. Okay. I keep all of my HTML files in the split view so I can see both the design and the code at any time. let's save this as the page template. Okay. So now I'm going to set up the structure for my site. So I'm going to insert a table, and for this I'm going to have 2 columns, and I'm going to put in 4 rows, and I'll show you why in a moment. Notice my table width is being set to 100% of the page. I could set it to pixels, and if I was to set it to pixels, it should be 1024 pixels for the full page view. The border thickness is currently set to 1, and I will leave it set to 1 for the time being whilst I'm doing my designing. I will need to take this off when I finish the site in order to improve the look, but so I can see my my table, I will leave it set to 1 for the moment. So I'm going to press OK, and here is my initial table. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to merge these top 2 cells for my full banner, and then I'm going to drag this section across because I'm going to have a navigation bar down the left hand side of the menu, and then I'm going to merge these cells as well for my content. So I've now got space for my banner, space for my 3 buttons, and a space for my content. So in relation to the banner, I'm just going to pop back to the instruction booklet and double check what I need to do. It should include a suitable image and the company logo. The logo.png image file can be found in the images folder. Okay, so back into Dreamweaver, images folder, and there is the logo.png file, which I'm just going to place into my banner area. Okay, so I have my initial logo there. Now I'm going to bring in another image because it does say that I should have a suitable image and the company logo. So I'm just going to minimize this. I'm actually going to have a look in the assets folder at the selection of images in order to choose a more suitable one if possible. So I'm going to choose one that is landscape in shape so that it can fit alongside the Escapade logo, and that kind of narrows it down to just this one. Oh no, I've got some options up here as well. So the kids having fun, or the swinging, or the high ropes. Okay, so I might choose, I think I'll possibly go with either image 1 or image 3 there. Okay. So back to my file size. I'm going to increase this so I can actually see it. And I'm just going to bring across image 3. Now it's very big. Okay, so I need to resize it, and I'm going to resize it using the properties window. So just simply by clicking on the picture, the properties banner opens. And you notice here I've got the width and the height set to pixels, and this are locked. Okay, it's very important to leave them locked. This means that as I change the width, the height will automatically change without any distortion. If I don't do this, then I can end up with distorted pictures that are too wide or too tall. You lose marks for this. So I'm going to make it the same size as my Escapade logo over here, which, if I check, has a width of 350 and a height of 187. So I'm going to go for the same height, 187, for this picture. There we go. They fit very nicely together. So now I can have a look and ensure that my banner is as I want it to be. Now you notice that my table has increased quite dramatically in size, so I want to just sort of bring that back. And I simply did that by clicking on the border of the table and dragging it back up. And I'm going to centerize these 2 images as well. So down in my code, I'm looking at my code. This section of the code here shows you this particular column. So it has this first image, the logo image, which there closes, and then the second image, the image 3, which then closes. What I'm going to do is I am going to give a center tag before the first image, and I'm going to close that center tag just after the last image. So remember, when you open a tag, it is the less than sign first, center, Remember, it's the American spelling of the word center, because HTML5 is an American language. And after the second image, I want to close that with the less than symbol / and it will finish the center tag for me. So when I click back up, I now have a centered bar. I can play with background colours and so on and so forth in a moment. At this stage, I'm also going to add the alt text as I go, because I'm not going to forget to do that. So this first image here, this escapade, when I click on it, it highlights in my code. And I can just simply type the alt text directly into the code where it has alt and the 2 open and closed speech brackets. Either that, or in the properties bar, I can type it into the little alt box. So this is the escapade logo. And this one here is image just one moment, it's not typing just yet. So we'll type it into the code there. Yeah, that's working fine. Image of climbing frame. So both of my images now have alt text. And the reason for that is so that when a visually impaired user accesses the internet, they have pieces of software which they can then read to them what the image represents, because they won't be able to see the image fully. Okay, now let's move on to the buttons. So back to my instruction booklet. Just close my properties for a second. So my instruction booklet says that my buttons are the home page, the About Us page and the Activities page, and they're going to have 3 different colours assigned to them. So the first thing I want to do is I want to write in home page, About Us page, Activities page. Okay. I will do some formatting of the text on here shortly. The easiest way to do some formatting of the text is what I'll do is I'll assign all 3 texts the same tag, so I'll make them a P tag or a heading 1 tag or a heading 2 tag, and then I'll change what that text looks like in the CSS code. But for the moment I'm just going to change the colour of the actual cells based upon the instructions in the booklet. So the home page, the background colour of this button should be set to #3399cc. So I'm just going to copy that and head back into my Dreamweaver. And this particular box here is highlighted with where we have here, this is the cell in my code. So I can see that that cell is now selected, well that's the cell. So the TD tag opens there and it closes there. So what I want to do is inside my TD tag, so I've got opening TD and it has a width setting there. I'm going to space that and I'm going to add a background colour tag, which is a BG colour. And I'm going to add the code for the BG colour. And when I click off, this is now filled in with the correct colour. And I'm going to do the same for the other 2. So I'm just going to pick up the colour code, pop back into Dreamweaver. And one more. Now you can see when I'm doing this, I'm actually putting this background colour inside the TD tag, so it's before this little, the greater than closing symbol for the first TD tag. It actually goes in there. As soon as I press space, I get this window that opens up that asks me what constraints do I want to add to my TD tag, and it is a background colour. You can notice here that I can also do the border colours for the cell borders, etc, etc. I could do alignments, all different kinds of thing, all within the constraints of the actual tag itself. Okay, so there we go, we've got 3 colours. And I am going to change the colour of the background of this main tag as well. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to change the background colour for the main one, and for the background colour there I'm going to set the same yellow as is down here. So there we go. I'll start to get a little bit of a layout that I can work with for my first section. So back to the instruction booklet. In addition to all of this, the page template should also include a footer. The footer should have a smaller version of the logo in it. It should have the email address linking to the info@escapadeadventurepark.co.uk. It should have a Facebook icon linking to the www.facebook.com/escapadeadventure and a Twitter icon linking to the www.twitter.com/escapadeadventure. The Facebook and Twitter icons can be found in the images folder. Okay, perfect. So let's go back into Dreamweaver. And down here I am now going to open up where my footer is going to go. So I'm going to insert a footer. So it's under the view tag just here. And no, it is under the insert tag. There it is, insert and footer. So there we go. Excellent. And what it asks me is it's asking where do I want my footer to be inserted. I want it at insertion point, and I have to check that my cursor is in the right place in the code down here. If I press cancel, if my cursor was up here in the middle of the table and I added a footer, the footer will appear in the middle of the table. Or like some of you did in your mocks, you ended up with a footer up at the top of the page, and etc, different places. So just make sure that you have left enough space in your code, so after the table, that is where you insert your footer. At insertion point, okay. So there's my footer, okay. So the footer contains three things: the link to the email address, the Facebook logo, and the Twitter logo. So I'll do the email address first. Into the instruction booklet, info at, cancel, don't want that opening, info@escapeadventurepark.co.uk. So I'm just going to highlight that, Command C to copy, and I'm going to paste that in here. Okay, wonderful. Now in order to add the hyperlink to this, what I want to do is I want to highlight the text itself. Just a moment, there we go. I'm going to highlight the text, and I'm going to go into insert hyperlink, and remember the link to a website should first contain the instruction mail to. So I don't need to change the text is what this looks like. This looks fine as it is, info@escapeadventurepark.co.uk. If you wanted to, you could change the text to click here to send an email, something like that, and then that's what it would appear in the footer, so long as the link then says mail to, and then a colon, and paste the link you want. Remember, the target instructs the computer as to whether this hyperlink opens underscore self, which means it opens on top of the current page, and underscore blank, which means it opens in a new page of its own right. So I'm just going to select this one for now, press OK. Okay, so we can see that that's now a hyperlink because it's turned blue. We have a lovely blue hyperlink. Okay, and the next one is my Facebook and Twitter logos. So there's the Facebook logo, pop that in there, and the Twitter logo, pop those in there. I think I'm going to right align those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside the image coding here, after all of the width and height and so on and so forth, before the alt text or after the alt text. I'm going to add an align equals right. So it's jumped over there, and I'm going to do the same for the Facebook one, just to have some feature as to the different. Don't need a space. Notice that the align instruction has to go into speech marks, so I've just typed align equals right inside the actual image tag as it is. So there we go, I've got my Facebook and Twitter logos over there now. Whilst they're over there, what I am also going to do is I'm going to add my alt text for both of them. So this is Twitter logo. Click here to visit the Escapade Twitter page, and the same for the Facebook in alt text. Facebook logo. Click here to visit the Escapade Facebook site. Okay, perfect. I still need to link these to the Facebook site and the Twitter site, but I can do that in a second. The other thing it said in my instruction booklet was that my footer should include a smaller version of the logo. Now, it doesn't say how small, but just use your common sense. It's always good to remember that when you're asked to resize things but not given a specific definition of how big or small something should be, the general rule is you must be able to read it. If you go too small and you can't read it, or if you go too big and you distort it and start to pixelate, that's when you'll lose marks. So it just says smaller than this one. So I'm going to bring it into the footer, just there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the properties of my original one, which was 187 by 350. And I'm going to bring this down now to a height of around, let's try a height of 100 and see what we think that looks like. That's not too bad. It's not too bad. I may well right align this as well so that this appears down here next to the Twitter and Facebook logos, because I don't really like the gap that it's causing in my actual footer bar. So I may well go into my tag here and align this to the right as well. Yeah, that's not bad. We're getting there. We've got a decent layout now, structure working for this. So don't forget to link your Twitter and Facebook, and of course I still need to do the alt text for the Escapade as well. So I'm just going to add the alt text to that. Escapade logo. Alright, so I'm going to just copy the links. Just wait whilst my computer loads for a moment. The swirling beach ball of doom. All I'm going to do once this finishes spinning is to highlight the links here and add them into the link option in my properties, which is just there. So I'm literally just going to copy them from one into the other. Will it allow me to? No. Okay, I'll have to type them in. Cancel. Ignore. There we go. Copy. Was this Facebook or Twitter that I opened? I can't remember. Let's have a look. Properties, paste that there. Have I pasted it in the right one? No, I haven't. I've pasted the Facebook in the Twitter one. Let's delete that. There we go. There, paste. Okay, so that one's done. And then the same for this one. Oh, I don't want the dot at the end there. I'll have to remember to delete that once I get it copied across. Copy. Back into here, there's Twitter. Paste that, remove that full stop from the end, because otherwise the hyperlink won't work properly. Okay, so now I have links, alt text, correct sizing for all of these images, and the Escapade logo. My link for my email address is a mail to link, and I can see that in my code here. All of my buttons are coloured correctly. I have a banner that is centralised, and now I can go through the process of saving this page 5 times under the names of the appropriate pages that I need to do for the full design, and then I can go through the process of making those. So that's step 1 of the mock paper, making your page template. Okay, so have a go at that, and then come back to watch step 2.